Hi, welcome back to my decorating series. We're going to the 8th floor again for a children's bedroom this time. So, I knew I needed to start with the correct bed. And in all honesty, I actually thought I had more than one bunk bed. I feel like the one I'm remembering is probably a premium shop item that I haven't purchased. So, I really only had one choice if I wanted to use a bunk bed for this room. So it gave me a very clear direction on the color scheme. The bright yellow comforters were a big jumping off point. So it actually really limited the walls and floors, which was kind of helpful. And even though I haven't selected it in full yet, I really was drawn to the orange mermaid pattern. And then the carpet, the Isabella's floral carpet, because it's pink, yellow, and orange, and white. And then I also knew I had some blue from the sheets, like the pillowcase and sheets from the bunk bed. So that really helped inform the choices. This ended up being another room that I actually felt like I thought there were more things, and there really weren't as many things. So it was kind of helpful because I didn't end up expanding this room right away because I knew that it wasn't going to be a big room, and actually I had the feeling that I was going to shrink the room a little bit, which before too much longer I do. But I really wanted to get a good idea of things I might put in here. And I really didn't want to repeat the stuff that I had just put in the playroom too much. Like, I was afraid I was going to stuff it with the stuffed animals and all of the toys. And I was like, this is not what this room is about. Like, there should be some of that stuff in here. Because if you've ever seen a kid's room, you know there's toys everywhere because they're kids, right? So, yeah, here we go. I'm going to shrink the room. And actually, at first, I thought I was going to orient the room a certain direction. And I kind of fussed with it just a little bit just to see what it felt like, because I was tempted to see how small I could get this room and make it still feel good. But once I put this carpet in here, I knew that what was it, 8x6 or 6x8 or whatever was too small. So I ended up going with a wider room. I thought at first I was going to make it narrow, but as I thought about the objects I had already looked at and decided that we're probably going to go in here, I went with the wide version. And reds were fine. You know, I didn't worry too much about the entire color scheme. Like, I wanted to go for yellows, pinks, and oranges. But I didn't mind if, like, blues were in here and reds were in here and stuff like that. I almost forgot about the windows I wanted to use, and I was like, oh, I'm going to use these pixelated windows, or maybe these windows with curtains. But before too much longer, I actually remember the windows that I had originally thought about before I started messing with the room size. And here I am just trying to see if there's maybe some alternative objects, some things I hadn't really thought about yet. I knew I wanted those night lights in here. But I didn't want a ton of lighting in here. Not that I didn't want it to be lit at night, but oh yeah, I really was tempted about these partitions, but they made the room really squished. And then with that carpet in here, it made it even more limited. So I have an idea for those partitions, but it ended up not being this room. But I didn't want it to be like glaringly bright in here at night because, you know, it's for sleeping, right? I mean, you can turn all the lights off, obviously, but like, it's a room for sleeping, so it didn't need to be super well lit. So I really tried to limit my lighting. I wanted a light near the kind of clothing dressing area, and I didn't even realize about that blue, was it a cloud lamp? It's a floor lamp, until kind of late in the game. And then I went, oh, I really want that in here. So I kind of just put it in here where it ends up, but you know, I'm not too fussed about the flow of the room. Like, it's a kid's bedroom. It's going to be a little haphazard. And I don't mind that, but this isn't a room that's easy to navigate through. But like many other rooms that I have had navigation issues, it's not a room I probably will frequent that often. So I was more interested in the overall vibe than I was about being able to like come in here and deal with storage, because this isn't a storage room, so it doesn't really matter affect my gameplay, as it were. I knew I wanted a little bookshelf in here, and then I knew I had a spot on the wall that was kind of empty, so I knew I wanted to put something there, and I was like, oh, this would be a perfect place for one of the frames. So here I am looking to see what picture I actually want to put on this wall. And I feel like they've changed the frame. Like it doesn't go in order anymore. And a lot of the notes didn't seem to be there, which is fine. The notes I'm never gonna choose. So I'm kind of glad that they modified that. But I do quite a bit of scrolling without a lot of stuff getting pulled into the room, just because I really didn't want it to have too much stuff. And this room has a very specific purpose, so it was more about just like little touches here and there, but I just didn't want to miss anything, and my usual scrolling habit, I guess. And oh yeah, a couple little plants, just because I kind of like having plants in every room, or most every room if I can help it. All right, well, let's go inside and check it out. So this puts us halfway through the 8th floor. If you can't tell by now, this is all about children's spaces and kind of fun areas. So I kind of felt like this room was going to be easier than it was, and I think it turned out okay. I mean, it's kind of chaotic in here, but I don't really mind that for a kid's bedroom. I really like the fact that this carpet feels like super plush, like it would be fun to lounge about on, like maybe listen to somebody read some stories on the pillow, that kind of thing. And the colors, it's another space where I really wish I could have like selected the colors of the objects more. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna show the nighttime lighting. And although it's brighter than I might have hoped for as far as a night vibe, I still kind of like the fact that it's not super bright. Like the bed corner seems really dim, which is nice because, you know, you could imagine turning off the overhead lights and just kind of reading a book in here or telling stories or whatever. But it was a little trickier than I expected it to be. But I don't mind, kind of, like I said, the chaos of this room. And I'm glad it's not too repeaty. I mean, there's a couple of objects that I did use. I mean, I used the little night lights, and I used the wagon, and the little Mushu dragon. But I'm glad I got to use some different objects. I'm glad I got to use the It's a Small World pillars in here, the Stitches rocket ship. I almost wish it looked more like a bed in a way, just because I could imagine a kid wanting to like sleep in that at night. Definitely my kids. But yeah, even though this was a little bit more challenging, I still think it turned out pretty cute, and it goes with the room next door, the playroom. And you know, now that the cat's out of the bag, expect a couple more like fun kid play type areas in the rooms to come. That's it for today's decorating adventure. If you liked this video, a thumbs up is a great way to let me know, and a subscription will keep you up to date on my latest shenanigans. If you want to hang out with me live, I stream on YouTube and Twitch on Thursday evenings and middays on Sunday. I hope you have a lovely day, night, time, wherever you are, whenever you are, and I'll see you next time.